All right, this is Peter Schiff, and I've come down here to Occupy Wall Street to represent the 1% and see if I can have a dialogue with the other 99%.
If you make 100 million, imagine how many jobs could be created if you just made 50 million.
Well,
listen, now, when I say compassionate capitalism, I'm talking about this. People who make allowances for those who have not.
But what you're forgetting is if I make 100 million, I had to create a lot of jobs to make that money. That's the point. When the capitalist is making money,
there's a thing called greed. And the problem with
we all greedy. Everybody.
No, we're not.
Well,
you cannot say that we're all greedy.
Well,
you cannot.
Well, don't you want things
greedy.
for yourself? You don't want more. You don't want better things for yourself.
We
better
all
life?
do, and that's the problem.
Right.
Some of us are simple people. We just want a place to live. We just want some food in our refrigerator.
And capitalism,
we just want to take care of our kids.
Capitalism is the best way to get those things. I mean, you're standing here. You're not naked. You have clothes on. The people that made those clothes did it to make a profit. And to make a profit, they had to make clothes that you can afford. Capitalism is why we have food.
It's why I didn't get these clothes for free.
But somebody made them. Somebody had to produce them.
Listen, my friend, you need to open your mind.
It is
understand that all these people are not in this park because of your perspective.
I understand you have to make money, but there's got to be regulations, because I believe in democracy, but I also believe in regulations. Right. The market has to grow at a sensible rate, right? It cannot grow too fast. Well, if the market grows too fast, it will crash.
See, the regulation we want is the market. That's the regulation that works. When governments try to regulate, it screws it all up. Now let's take a corporation. If a corporation wants to sell a product, it can't sell the product for whatever price it wants. Somebody has to voluntarily buy that product. So the market determines the price of the goods that are being sold. The same thing is with labor. A corporation just can't take advantage of its workers and pay them as little as it wants, because businesses compete with one another to buy labor. People are selling their labor, and so the market is going to set wages. The market is going to set prices. If the government comes in and tries to say, this is the wage that needs to be paid, all they do is end up creating lots of unemployment. They have classes of people that aren't allowed to work. No, that's a matter of fact.
The only reason you want to take money away from the federal government is to steal the rest of the money that you didn't steal already.
No, the federal government is the one that's stealing money from the people who earned it. I want to leave the money with the people who earned it, and they can use it to grow the economy, to create the jobs.
You just want to take out whatever left that you didn't, that the 1% didn't already.
No, what money did I have that I take? How did I take money?
You personally. I'm talking about the 1%.
What do you do for a living?
I work for the state.
Huh? All right. Well, I mean, I work for myself. I have a company, but I've made money because I have 20,000 customers who gave me their money voluntarily. I didn't force anybody to give me money.
Like Wall Street, the corporations that are running our economy.
Well, that's the problem. They shouldn't be.
And they're running our government.
But why are they? Because the government has the power.
It's crony capitalism. It's not capitalism.
Yes, exactly. You got it. We got it because government gave it to them. We got to take it back We got to take the power away from government so they can't give it out to their friends in banks or corporations. We want the corporations to get money who earn it without any political connections, without any special subsidies. We want them to earn the money because they produce the products and the services that we want at the prices that we want to pay. And in the process, they create jobs.
They're the ones bankrolling the campaigns. That's what you're saying you're against the federal government, you wanted to change and all that, but you guys are the ones, or at least these guys here on Wall Street are the ones that are funding all the campaigns and putting these people in power in the first place.
Right,
and then you do so because you know that they will enact policies that you want, and then you also know that once they do that, and you become friends with them through campaign fundraising and all that.
That is the problem.
That they will let you in the government, and you'll be like, hey, can I be Secretary of the Treasury?
No, that is the problem. See, because Washington has so much power, there's lobbyists because people are peddling their influence, and corporations are trying to get the benefit of that power. But as long as the government is there with power, people are going to lobby to have it used in their interests.
One more question. Do you believe that Franklin Delano Roosevelt did what he had to do in 1939? Government intervention?
No, he caused the Great Depression. See, yes, by doing exactly what Herbert Hoover did. He was the Barack Obama of his day. The reason we had a Great Depression was Roosevelt. He didn't save it. He almost destroyed it.
Most probably world.
No. Hoover is, the socialists want to blame it. Hoover did the wrong thing. Hoover was like George Bush. He tried to prop everybody up, bail everybody out. We didn't. Hoover was not a capitalist.
My question is, where does the 1% fit in the picture of the crisis that we just went through?
Well,
so you're saying that it's all the fault of the government. What's their role?
No, my point is, look, if taking money away from the 1% to suspend it is going to hurt the economy. We need capital to grow the economy. We need investments. We need savings. We need production.
Right.
We need more machines. We need more factories.
What role did Wall Street play in this crisis? In your
No, they played a big role. Wall Street drank the alcohol that the Federal Reserve poured. But if there was no Fed pouring the alcohol, if Fannie and Freddie weren't guaranteeing all these mortgages, Wall Street wouldn't have originated them. So it was Wall Street working with government. But the source of the problem was government. Government started. That's how come when I was warning about the crisis back in 2004 and 2005, begging the Fed to raise interest rates, trying to get Fannie and Freddie out of the mortgage guarantee business, nobody wanted to listen to me.
No, it's corporate money that's in politics currently that is controlling the system. That's why you guys have the power you do.
I don't have any power.
Plus, World War II was most probably.
But I don't have any power. I'm as powerless as you.
World War II is most probably what brought us out of that depression, and we came out shining because the rest of the world was
actually.
But after that, the interest or the tax rates on the very wealthy were extremely high, and we had an amazing golden era of prosperity in this country.
Let me tell you,
you did not suffer. Plus, you employed many more people than the sector does currently.
Okay,
the financial sector does nothing but manipulate money.
Well, I agree. We need to shrink the financial sector. It gets too much government subsidies. But what ended the Depression was the end of the Second World War, when the government stopped all that spending. It wasn't the war that got us out. It was ending the war. But yes, there were very high taxes after the war, but nobody paid them. There were so many loopholes. Nobody paid those high taxes. People like me are paying much higher taxes today than people were paying in 1945, 1950. In fact, nobody even paid withholding taxes. The average person didn't even pay income taxes until 1943. That's when the withholding tax came in.
My history states that the tax rates were 70, 80, 90%.
The rates were there, but nobody paid them. Nobody had that income because there were so many deductions, nobody had to pay them. Now the average person is paying a much higher rate of tax, the average wealthy person. Let's say somebody who's making $5, $10, $20 million a year. If you made the equivalent of that in the 1950s, you paid a lower tax because you had so many deductions, you had no taxes. The money that grows the economy is the money that isn't spent. It's savings that drives economic growth. And when you tax the businessman, you're taxing his savings, you're diminishing his ability to grow the economy, to grow his business, and you're sending money to Washington where it's squandered on consumption and government bureaucracy. That's what's destroying the country. You know what the richest county is now in the United States? Washington County. It's now wealthier than Silicon Valley. Because it's all the money going to the bureaucrats. They're raising their pay. All the lobbyists are getting rich because the government is doling out all these favors. Take away the power of government and you bring the power back to the people. What's happening on Wall Street is a consequence of this power emanating from Washington. You got to cut off the head of the snake. That's how you kill it.
Should we not protest here? Should we go?
Of course.
The Fed?
Who wouldn't want a bailout? If the government came and offered to bail you out, you'd take it. The problem is the government shouldn't be able to offer the money. Look, I wanted every bank that bet wrong to fail.
Like, what is the limit? What is the limit on business? What is the limit on government? Where do we put those limits?
First of all, corporations are simply businesses that incorporated. And corporations are just individuals that got together to run a business. I mean, that's all they are.
Individuals? Should they have corporate personhood?
Well, there are legal rights that a corporation has as a fictitious person, but apart from that, they're people. Yes, it's fair.
Why?
Because what the corporate structure does is it enables businesses to raise more capital and grow bigger because you shield the shareholders from some of the liability. So you make it.
It's in the interest of the shareholders?
It's in the interest of the whole economy because it makes it easier for businesses to expand and make the investments necessary. No. They only do that because the government forces them to, because the taxes and regulations are too high here. Because remember, the corporations owe an interest to their shareholders. That's what they are. They're just like you. They're not there to serve society. They're there to make a profit. But the result is that they end up serving society through the invisible hand.
That's very short-sighted, my friend. The reason why is because, yes, it helps the shareholders in the very near future, right? But where are we now? This whole shit show is because of the fact that people weren't thinking long term, and now
they weren't, because the government got them all liquored up with cheap money and government guarantees.
Yes,
and you know what? It's going to get a lot worse. You guys ain't seen nothing yet. You know, wait till you see how much worse it's going to be in a year or two. There's going to be more unemployment, and then you're going to start to see prices really go up as the dollar collapses in value and food gets a lot more expensive. Healthcare.
Wait, time out. You're still saying that the government is totally the only person to blame. However, corporations are still complicit in their guilt if they're the ones that are doing what's ever cheaper
Look,
for their shareholders.
Look, a lot of people on Wall Street acted recklessly, and they should have been held accountable. They should have been allowed to lose money. They shouldn't have been bailed out. But my question is, why did they do these foolish things? You know, President Bush said Wall Street got drunk. He was right. They were all stinking drunk. But the question was, where did they get all that alcohol? Why were they drunk?
But you're blaming the alcoholic for being enabled.
No, I'm blaming the bartender for liquoring them up. I'm blaming Alan Greenspan. I'm blaming the Fed and the government for doing it.
Aren't they both at guilt, though? They're both at guilt, and you're just saying no. Only one is at guilt.
I'm not excusing them.
Okay.
But I'm saying that if you want to stop the behavior, you got to go to Washington. You got to cut it off at the source, and you can't say it's capitalism. If people are saying capitalism is failing, it's not working, we haven't even tried it in decades. We need capitalism. That's what does work. We know that works.
Okay.